Deep within the darkened heart of the continent, the mournful shriek of a griffin resonates through the high peaks. Elsewhere, the haunting gurgles of drowners bubble up from murky swamps, and the harsh growl of the ghoul echoes among the gravestones. This world teems with beings that defy understanding, creatures that blur the line between the natural and the supernatural, the real and the mythical. In these creatures, we often observe a fusion of biology and magic, adaptations shaped not just by natural selection, but by arcane forces that now bind this world. Now, I will attempt to probe their anatomy, demystify their behaviors, and perhaps even attempt to trace their origins. I am but a humble scholar venturing into this wilderness to bring their stories to light, but I must warn you, if you should choose to join me, this path is dangerous, and the line between observer and prey may blur, and yet I realize that for explorers like you and I, the call to discover and to learn is irresistible. Welcome to a realm where every deserted crypt may harbor the haunting presence of a Striga. Each rumble from the depths of the earth could betray the industrious march of the Kikimores, and with every darkened cave, danger unseen may lie in wait. Welcome to the world of the Witcher. Before we step further into this world, we must briefly delve into the past, to a cataclysm now known as the Conjunction of the Spheres. Some 1,500 years ago, our relatively mundane world experienced a colossal upheaval. As the scant records indicate, the conjunction of the spheres was a cosmic accident, an intertwining of separate realities, and our world was at the epicenter. It was an event of unimaginable chaos, as colliding realms forever altered the course of life as we know it. Before the conjunction, our world had no magic, and, as many would argue, it had none of the more bizarre beasts we see today. The conjunction, however, splattered the canvas of our world with vibrant and sometimes dark hues of the supernatural. Creatures that were once alien to our ecosystem suddenly became a part of them. This rapid introduction of new species likely caused a period of ecological chaos as these newcomers competed with native species for resources and reshaped entire food webs. Over time, however, a new equilibrium must have been reached. Some species likely went extinct, unable to compete in the new environment, while others were undoubtedly forced to adapt. It's a process similar to what we observe on isolated islands, albeit on a much larger and more dramatic scale. As you might have realized by now, despite the conjunction's clear footprint on our world's biology, our knowledge of it is tragically incomplete. The event itself is like a cryptic puzzle, with most of its pieces lost to time. To study the results while remaining blind to the cause is like attempting to discern a beast's habits without ever having observed it in the wild. Did the conjunction simply transplant these creatures into our realm, or did it also reshape our world's life, altering the foundational rules of biology and physics? I've discovered that these questions are endless. Still, the optimist in me recognizes that with each new mystery we uncover, we inch closer to the truth. It is my hope that we will one day know more about what happened in that fateful event, but for now, we must be content to let these particular mysteries lie. We travel first to the mountains, where we will attempt to find a monstrous hybrid. From many villages on any given evening, the distant sound of screeching can be heard, echoing among the mountain peaks. For many years, the sources of these vocalizations were content to stay in their alpine habitats, but more recently, griffins have begun to venture into the plains, where they often wreak havoc on livestock, wild food sources, and humans. The griffin, with its amalgamation of feline and raptor traits, is an imposing yet intriguing creature. An adult griffin is taller than a horse at the shoulder, with a wingspan exceeding that of even the largest eagle. Its body, resembling that of a lion, features muscular hind legs used for piston-like leaping and a long tail for balance in both flight and on the ground. Instead of paws, these legs terminate in three-toed talons, capable of exerting significant crushing force. Conversely, the griffin's forelimbs are its means of generating lift. The 3rd to 5th digits have become structures supporting these wings, while the remaining digits are grasping talons, useful for attack and in landing. The wings are covered with a layer of durable feathers arranged in a complex pattern, enabling the griffin to, of course, fly and control its flight. These feathers also play a role in thermoregulation, trapping heat in cold weather and releasing it in warmer conditions. The griffin's head and neck are covered with a dense mane, with a finer coat on the torso and hindquarters. Its head, similar to a bird of prey, has forward-facing eyes, allowing it to perceive a wide range of colors and sharp details even from a distance. The beak is curved and sharp, designed for tearing flesh, with the upper beak slightly overhanging the lower one to form a hook. But besides its distinct blended morphology, one must ask how the physiology of two seemingly incompatible body plans could possibly function in terrestrial movement, flight, and even circulation. Being massive creatures capable of sustained flight, griffins require a highly efficient respiratory system. As such, dissection reveals a unique unidirectional airflow system, superior to the bidirectional airflow found in mammals. This system includes air sacs that allow a continuous flow of oxygen-rich air through the lungs, even during exhalation. This ensures that the griffin's tissues are continually supplied with oxygen, a crucial feature for a creature that spends significant time in high-altitude flight, where oxygen levels are lower. I have also observed a highly pneumatized skeletal structure, which reduces weight without sacrificing structural integrity, a crucial adaptation for flight. Additionally, certain muscles in the chest are highly developed. The pectoralis, responsible for the downstroke of the wings, is particularly well developed. Conversely, the supracoracoideus, responsible for the upstroke, while smaller overall, is incredibly efficient. The origin of the griffin is the subject of some debate within the scientific community. Some say that the griffin is a creature from another dimension that arrived during the conjunction of the spheres. They argue, rather convincingly, that the griffin's seemingly disparate characteristics suggest an origin outside of our known biological evolution. Others claim that it is a native species that appeared in our world long before the conjunction event. They argue that while the griffin's blend of traits is unusual, it is not beyond the realm of natural convergent evolution. Which of these hypotheses is correct will likely continue to be debated for generations to come. For now, however, let us turn to one of the most fascinating subjects of our study. Leshens are a fusion of nature and sorcery, a product of the eerie beauty that the conjunction of the spheres brought into our world. Indeed, the Leshen is a complex amalgamation of organic and elemental entities, with certain characteristics seemingly reflecting those of both Plantae and Animalia kingdoms. But to truly comprehend the biology of a Leshen, we must be willing to venture into the realms of arcane knowledge, mystical energies, and transcend the boundaries of traditional science. Leshens are found in dense primeval forests. They are strongly associated with these habitats, and their physiology and behavior are deeply intertwined with the forest ecosystem. They are highly territorial creatures and mark their territory using a variety of methods, including physical markers such as bones and skulls. They also use their magical abilities to control the flora and fauna within their territory, effectively creating a network of sentinels that alert the Leshen to any intruders. The Leshen is a towering figure, standing much taller than an average human. It bears the appearance of a walking, sentient tree with a skeletal humanoid form composed of hardened wood and bark. Its skull-like face, complete with glowing eyes, adds a menacing aspect to its overall appearance. The body of a Leshen is often adorned with skulls and bones, possibly taken from its past victims, or perhaps as a form of ornamentation. I am grateful to have been afforded an opportunity to examine a deceased specimen, but I must admit, much of its biology defies traditional classification. For one, the Leshen doesn't possess traditional organs as we understand them. Instead, as previously mentioned, their physical form appears to be a confluence of organic and elemental materials. Leshens appear to have a form of central nervous system, made of interconnected roots and vines that carry magical energy in place of nerve impulses. I speculate that this magical nervous system has different nodes that could function similar to a heart or brain, controlling the Leshen's movements and abilities. Similarly baffling, their skeletal framework is primarily constructed of a substance similar to petrified wood. This serves as structural support, while also being flexible enough to allow movement. Digestion is a matter of ongoing study, but as far as I can infer, Leshens do not intake conventional food. Instead, they seem to draw sustenance from the earth itself. This could be similar to the photosynthesis observed in plants, but with a broader range of nutrient absorption, possibly including magical energies present in the soil and air. In fact, a Leshen's physiology intertwines so closely with magic that it's impossible to separate the two. They can manipulate flora, summon animals, move with the wind, and disappear into the trees. It's suggested that the magical energy they absorb not only sustains them, but fuels their powers, making them part of the very fabric of nature. Unlike some other creatures brought into this realm ages ago, the Leshen seems to have adapted remarkably well to our world, perhaps due to its inherent affinity for nature and its proclivity to dwell in forested environments. This adaptability does beg the question, what realm did this creature originally inhabit that was similar enough to our own to facilitate this rapid acclimation? The answer to this question remains unclear, and sadly it will likely remain so, unless another conjunction occurs. We will leave these musings for another time, however. Now we move from these primeval forests to the dark places beneath the earth. Found in isolated swamps and subterranean chambers, Kikimores are giant colony-based arthropods. As such, Kikimores are segmented into three primary sections: the prosoma, or head, thorax, and the opisthosoma, or abdomen. These creatures can be as large as a horse, though some queens can reach the size of a small house. They possess multiple limbs that act as both legs and manipulative appendages, and their bodies are protected by a robust exoskeleton. Beneath the exoskeleton, the Kikimore's anatomy follows a unique, though somewhat familiar layout. They appear to possess a decentralized nervous system, with ganglia present throughout their body. Kikimores are primarily carnivorous, hunting in packs and using their numbers to bring down prey. It appears that they consume their prey whole, and much like spiders, may inject venom to pre-digest their food, absorbing the liquefied nutrients. Kikimores also exhibit a highly efficient respiratory system, which seems to function through spiracles along their body, leading to a tracheal system for oxygen delivery. This allows for efficient oxygen-carbon dioxide exchange, necessary for these creatures' rapid and intense physical activities. And as eusocial organisms, there is always plenty to do. The Kikimore colony is divided into three castes. Workers, though they are the smallest in size, make up a majority of the colony's population and are responsible for the maintenance and expansion of the nest, gathering food and caring for the young. Physically, they are lighter and possess a less robust exoskeleton than the warriors, designed more for agility and maneuverability within the intricate tunnels of their colony. Warriors themselves are larger and more robust. Their primary responsibility is to protect the colony from threats, and they are the first line of defense against any intruder. As such, their exoskeleton is considerably thicker, providing them with enhanced protection. Warriors also have larger, more formidable mandibles and produce more potent venom, making them deadly combatants. Finally, there is the queen, the centerpiece of the Kikimore colony. She is the largest, often dwarfing even the warriors, and her primary function is reproduction. Besides their size, queens have a markedly different physical appearance from workers and warriors. Perhaps most obvious of these differences, their abdomen is significantly larger to accommodate the egg-producing organs. Unlike the other castes, the queen's mobility is limited, mainly due to her size and the constant demand for egg production. In fact, the queen can lay hundreds if not thousands of eggs in her lifetime. Interestingly, while they don't appear to possess a singular collective consciousness per se, Kikimores do demonstrate a level of coordination and cohesion that suggests an advanced form of communication and shared decision-making. The mechanism behind this communication likely involves chemical signaling through pheromones. These chemicals are released by the queen and other members of the colony, serving as directives that shape the collective's behavior. For example, specific pheromones appear to indicate danger, calling warriors to defend, or signal the need for expansion, prompting worker Kikimores to construct new sections of the colony. This form of communication and coordination results in a colony that operates with a single purpose, often giving the illusion of what is known as a hive mind. But not every creature that hunts in groups is so coordinated. We return now to the surface, where each body of water may conceal a grotesque horror. For any who would approach the numerous shorelines of our world, vigilance is a necessity. Many unsuspecting people have been unceremoniously dragged into these depths by a slimy, human-like hand. And indeed, drowners are humanoid in shape, but beyond this basic structure, they differ in many key aspects. They are taller, often reaching up to 7 feet, and possess long, gangly limbs terminating in webbed hands and feet. In fact, having been brought to this world by the conjunction, it seems unlikely that these creatures bear any relation to humans, but nothing is truly outside the realm of possibility. Characterized by a pallid appearance, drowners exhibit an epidermal texture that appears moist to the touch, resembling the slimy coating found in many aquatic organisms. The skin, despite its seemingly delicate nature, is surprisingly tough. The drowner's eyes are quite large, a feature that echoes the morphological adaptations seen in deep-sea organisms. Such creatures often develop large eyes to increase the amount of available light captured, compensating for the low light conditions of their underwater environments. Similarly, the drowner's eyes contain a high concentration of photoreceptor cells, allowing them to navigate effectively beneath the water's surface. The dental structure of drowners is also noteworthy, and it is characterized by sharp, pointed teeth ideally suited for penetrating and tearing into the flesh of their prey. But for these uniquely amphibious humanoid creatures, a number of equally unique physiological adaptations have occurred. Drowners exhibit a fascinating adaptation for life in both aquatic and terrestrial environments, a dual respiratory system comprised of lungs and gills. The drowner's gills, located in the intercostal thoracic region, function in a manner analogous to those of fish, facilitating the extraction of oxygen directly from the water. When a drowner submerges, water flows over these gill slits. The thin epithelial tissue allows for the diffusion of oxygen carried by the water into the drowner's bloodstream. Concurrently, waste carbon dioxide diffuses from the blood into the water and is expelled as the water flows out from the gill slits. In contrast, the lungs, although functionally similar to those of terrestrial creatures, are more rudimentary in structure. The lungs are composed of a network of bronchioles ending in small air sacs or alveoli. When a drowner is on land, it breathes air into its lungs and oxygen diffuses across the thin walls of the alveoli and into the bloodstream. The ability to navigate both terrestrial and aquatic environments is a major advantage, and it is an ability supported by a lightweight skeletal system composed primarily of cartilaginous material that provides adequate durability on land while allowing for flexibility while underwater. The diet of the drowner is carnivorous and opportunistic. They have been known to attack anything that comes near their watery habitats, including humans. However, they also feed on fish and other aquatic creatures. Despite their danger, drowners are surprisingly well suited to a niche that didn't exist before the conjunction. Still, study of their lineage is woefully lacking, and without a comprehensive fossil record or genetic analysis, the precise pathway of their evolution remains speculative. But while drowners are an excellent example of adaptation, likely by natural processes, other creatures in our world are not so clear-cut. Strigas are not a naturally occurring species, but rather humans transformed through a powerful curse. This has made the study of these unfortunate organisms not only difficult and dangerous, but given their previously reasonable state in many cases, ethically questionable. Still, the light of discovery must illuminate even those places governed by dark magic. Victims of this particular curse may not exhibit symptoms for weeks or even years, but once the magic takes hold, systemic changes occur rapidly and likely painfully. First, muscle mass is greatly increased, making strigas significantly bulkier and considerably stronger than an average human. Second, numerous changes occur in the skeletal system. In the spine, enhanced curvature and additional cartilage present between the vertebral bodies, especially in the lumbar and thoracic regions, allow the striga to maintain a horizontal body orientation while moving on all fours. Additionally, the forelimbs display remarkable robustness, exceeding typical human arm strength and length. I've also observed a substantial reinforcement in the radius and ulna and a surprising range of motion in the elbow and wrist joints, which further facilitates efficient locomotion. And while changes in the hind limbs are more subtle, they are no less crucial. The femur of the striga exhibits a unique angulation, enhancing stability through the quadrupedal stride. The feet demonstrate a superior degree of flexibility, allowing for a diversified gait and improved grip across various terrains. But of the grotesque changes that occur to the human body plan, perhaps the most notable are those in the head. The striga's skull is distinctly elongated and robust, and includes a pronounced frontal crest and expanded zygomatic arches, which accommodate more powerful masseter and temporalis muscles and give the striga a significant bite force. The striga's mandible is also modified, with a more pronounced angle and thicker coronoid process. This appears to strengthen the attachment area for the temporalis muscle, further contributing to the creature's powerful bite. As for dentition, the incisors and canines are larger and more pronounced, uniquely adapted for tearing and ripping flesh. Furthermore, apositional growth in the alveolar processes causes the teeth to jut outward at odd angles. Behaviorally, strigas are solitary creatures, usually found haunting graveyards or abandoned buildings. They are nocturnal and extremely aggressive, attacking any living creature they encounter. Though I have had only brief opportunities to study the brain, it is likely that in Strigas, the areas associated with aggression and basic survival instincts are amplified, while regions tied to higher cognitive functions and human emotions are diminished. They do, however, seem to retain some rudimentary intelligence, capable of understanding their environment and making tactical decisions during a hunt. In any case, the end result is a highly aggressive creature, largely driven by primal urges, but with enough intelligence to be a formidable predator. This world is full of unique creatures that sometimes seem to defy all sense of scientific study. Others follow a more predictable biological and evolutionary trajectory, but even these are no less intriguing. I've dedicated my life's work to studying these dangerous creatures up close, and I plan to obtain much more data to present. That is, as long as my luck doesn't run out. If you liked this video and want even more, be sure to check out my Patreon. You'll get early access to videos, exclusive content, artwork, and even extended cuts of videos, including this one. Really, it's just a way to support the channel and enjoy some extra perks. I also wanted to let you know about my brand new Discord server, which has turned out to be a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you there. Links for both are in the description. In any case, your support means the world to me. Thanks again, and until next time, remember, you matter.